First of all, I'm gonna have only 3 slides, so it's gonna be quite quick. I'm gonna talk about AI and robotics from the practice level and user case that we use it. For the last 10 years, I work as a financial advisor and a wealth manager. I onboard over 200 financial advisors. My team was 40 members. We decided to go to the technology to make our lives easier. The problem that we solve is quite simple. In UK, you've got around 20 billion of revenue, potential revenue that advisors can take if they will have the technology for that. If we talk about the market structure, you hear a lot about robo-advisors that are coming in the market, how it's changed, how the customer changed. But the question is, why it's happening from few reasons. First of all, there was 2012 where the RDR shows up on the UK market. In US, it's a fiduciary rule. It needs all the financial advisors to provide super compliant services. They have to focus on regulations, they focus on the models that allows them to protect themselves from regulators. So before, they focused on all the pyramid of wealth. They can provide products even to the mass market using commissions. But now, they totally move up and focus on wealthy people. Costs generated by the regulations are so high that they can onboard successfully customers over 1 million. And the affluent market, which is huge and covers 43% of the global wealth, is not well served right now. And the below of the pyramid is totally out of the scope. So if we talk about the facts, is that in UK market, mass affluents got around 100 to 200K investment, or affluent investors with 200K to 500 funds to invest. They are not right now super efficient for them. Mass market, and we talk about the people who've got money, around 50K to 100K, are totally skipped. And what we can get from FCA is that 70% of financial advisors reject investors in the last 12 months because of that. If we go to the opportunity, what this brings us is that the structure of the wealth of the people. We can see at different levels from different households, like mass market. This is the 50K to 100K. It's 2.8 million households in UK. Then, if we go a little bit higher, 100 to 200,000 pounds to invest, it's 1.6 million households without right advice. Then, even if we go higher, okay, it's still less, but this is what we see here is not only investable assets. If somebody got 100 personal value of 100K, it doesn't mean that they have enough money to invest 100K. It means that there are investment properties. It means that there are insurances and other products we just can simply take and invest into the stocks, for example. So if you can see here, it's the cash, it's the securities, or pensions. There are different products. So from this perspective, if we skip this one, we can tell that there are 2 trillion of assets without any kind of advice, which we can tell that advisors lose 20 billion pounds on that. If we go deeper and think about easy to move assets, it's lower. It's around 180 billion, which leads us to 1.8 billion potential fees. This is because of we can invest quickly only this part of the personal wealth. But how many potential advisors are there in the UK? Is 14,000 people providing advice, people looking for advice because they want to reach their goals, their personal goals, but they just can't. This is a huge amount of the people with the problem. FCA even created a budget to try to solve it. So what do? As a company, we focus on, can we go forward? Yes. We try to solve this problem using technology like simple AI, like machine learning, what just guys said before. But we don't do this like the robo-advisors do. Our approach is quite different. First of all, we focus on financial advisors because they already have the customers. They have access to new leads, people coming to them, and are rejected. So they don't need to spend a lot of money on marketing to acquire new customers like robo-advisors have. Typically, Nutmeg example, they spend millions of pounds for marketing. You can see they commission everywhere, which leads them to a very huge cost of acquiring customer, making the service not profitable. Here we've got advisors who already get a customer base and also get the leads, which is much easier for them to implement any kind of service. So what do? We allow them to consult customers online, offer simple advice on board, and manage their account automatically. Typically what robo-advisors do. But our approach is a little different because we use demographic of the investors, put them to the systems, add different questions each of the investor, creating their own personal profiles. Then we change it to the financial models of their lives, which allows us to match with the best portfolios that financial advisors have already. And because if you go to the bigger market, you have to be prepared for claims, for lawsuits, and the other situations that are not particularly you want to make it happen. We use a blockchain to secure all the process to prove every step of the advice. If you have 50 customers, it's easy. But if you got 500 customers, it's totally different. And you have to make sure that every step of the process is super secure, and you can prove every action that was taken with the customer. We already started working with financial advisors. So this is the product that is already implemented. We're working with the banks because the problem is the same everywhere. People looking for advice, they can get it. Potential in the market is huge, but technology is not used in the right way. We investigate around 150 robo-advisors in the market. That was our first approach to implement the white label model. What we figure out is that it's not exactly what advisor is looking for. Financial advisors tailor-made. We have to know the customer. We have to speak with him, try to figure out what is in his head, what he wants to achieve. That's why we use different channels to communicate. For this example is very simple. In Well-Formed, you will see only the questionnaire. We use also the chat, which asks the different questions, some complementary ones, and it's totally AI part. There is no human in there. So you can create a different path from different investors using different channels of communications, making this very, very, very interactive for the investors. Thanks. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Jack.